Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the sixth video this time in the 3D animation series. And today I want to talk about, as you can see, exporting and importing into Unity, setting up the animation clips and the Ragdoll physics and how to code it. So first, let's go back to Maya. Got a couple of things that we need to address first. The first one is the forward motion and how you do it. And there are two ways of doing it. You can either do it by code, that's what I'm gonna do, or you can actually set up it manually. So let's go to my walk cycle over here from 1 to 50. Here's my walk cycle. Right now, my animation in terms of timing of the feet is perfectly symmetrical, right? So they're both the same, they don't do anything weird. So I can use code to actually move the object forward. But if your animation is not perfectly symmetrical when it comes to timing, you probably want to do this manually. So that means that you actually have to set up the forward motion on the mouse controller here. That means on the Z scale I have to move forward to the position that I want it to be. Let's do it like this, 1.4-ish. And you have to make sure that the animation curve is set to linear, otherwise you will always have this slow in, slow out when moving. And now we've done this, we can check out here the timing of the feet. You see a little bit of sliding here, so then you have to adjust it on the Z axis again in terms of the actual animation. In this case it's too far. Or a little bit back. I'm gonna eyeball this real fast. Still some sliding here, but yeah. It's up to you which one you use. Again, if the animation is perfectly symmetrical, you don't have to use it. If it is asymmetrical, then you probably have to use it, right? So, but it's up to you and how you prefer it. How to export this? Well, you make sure that every single frame is visible in your timeline. In this case, from 0 to 2000. Again, 0 is my default pose, and then we walk through all the animations here in the entire sequence, including some extra here that I did, some hit reactions here as well. That's a different video though. Okay, so now to export it, simple. It's actually not difficult, but it's a trick that you need to know. I'm going to go to my select all by type joints. Again, select all by type joints. This will select every joint in your entire scene. So I'll keep in mind all of it. Next step is going to your key here, make sure it's set animation, go to key and then hit bake animation. Now what this will do is it will bake every single frame of every single joint down to a keyframe. So every motion will have a single keyframe here. What's going to mean that this entire timeline here will be just red of just keyframes for everything. In this case I'm not going to do it because it takes a little bit too long, but key, bake animation, wait a little bit. Mine took like 5 minutes to bake all keyframes down, but it will bake all the joints down to a single keyframe per frame. The benefit of this is that it will leave no space open for interpretation, for example for Unity or Unreal, because they can interpret the curves a little bit differently than you intended. So in this case this leaves no room for interpretation by any game engine, and the export will be exactly like it is as in Maya. Once you've done this, you make sure that you add your meshes to your outliner here, to your selection here, including the eyes and of course the body as well. So probably help us this one select as well. Make sure I get my eyes here as well. And then you go again, file, bake selection, export selection, sorry. These are my settings. I don't have to bake animation again since we've already baked it. I don't have to do this again, though it's just a waste of time. I've set the quaternion interpolation mode to retain quaternion interpolation, which is a mouthful. Because I think it's a little bit better. Deform models, of course, skin and blend shapes, you have to turn it on. Skeleton constraints and definitions. Embed media for textures if you want to, you don't have to, of course. But make sure that the units are set to centimeters, otherwise it's not going to export properly at all, and you'll be like, what the fuck happened? But that's it. Then you just bake it, export it. Might take a little while, and that's it. In my case, my file was like 72 MB. It's pretty big, but yeah. Let's go into Unity, which is way more interesting. So I imported both. So this is my base mesh, which has no animations whatsoever at all. Nothing is in here, and you have the actual one that has all the animations, right? But right now by default it's set to the entire clip, so we have only one animation clip of everything, which is pretty useless. But you can check here to see if everything is correct or not. But it is in my case. So we need to manually define the clips. In this case, I made a list of all my frames here. So I just noted down when they started, when they end. It's a little bit easier. course, you don't have to do this, but it just saves me time. Otherwise, I have to like go in here in timeline. Yeah, okay, I think it's 1600 to 1615, but it's not correctly. So in this case, this is just from my a little bit easier to do it like this. So I'm gonna move it to my different screen though, a little bit faster if I do it like this. I'm gonna drag this one in here as well, so I can see what's happening here. There we go. Okay, so let's do this list. You can just add it here. In this case, I'm gonna change this one to my walk, and then it's from frame 1 till 50. Keep in mind, though, you have to make sure that the ones that should loop actually loop. So in this case, my walk cycle should loop. I'm gonna turn it on, loop time here. That's it. Next one, you just click on the plus. Then we have our first idle animation. That's from frame 100 to 600. And this one also should loop. Same for my second idle. I can just randomly choose between the idle animations, which I think is cool. 700 to 1000. Again, it should also loop. I'm going to turn on loop time. Next one is the attack one. So the first attack animation. That's from 1100. Oh, 1300. In this case, I don't want this animation to loop, right? He should only, oh crap, he should only attack when I want him to attack and just stop after that. That's it. Actually, 1100 to, what's 1150? 1125 even. See? I made a fuck up. That's it. So, I don't want him to loop. I just want to play it once and then move back into the combat idle, which I'm going to add next. Then we have the combat idle here. This should be from 1200 to 1300. Again, check the animations, make sure that you actually have them correct. We do. This should loop. I'm going to turn on loop here again. Then we have the second attack animation. I added one more because I thought it was cool as well. From 1350 to 1400. Again, this should not loop. This is biting animation. Again, this should not loop, so I'm not going to turn it on here. Then we have the first run cycle. So this is going to call run 1, 1600 or 1660. This should loop. Just check it again. Second run animation that I have is from 1650 to 1664. It should also loop. Oh, check it again. Come on. Oh, this is so annoying. I'm sorry. There you go. It should also loop. Then we have our def animation, which should not loop. So def in this case is from 1700 till 725. Again, like I mentioned, we only play till it actually falls down, and then we're gonna let the ragdoll take over. So till here, and then it's just stop. Then we have a jump animation, which is a little bit special, since we, like previous video, we mentioned that we're gonna divide it up in 3 animation clips. So we first have the jump anticipation. Anticipation, nice word as well. From 1800 to 1810. We don't want this to loop, so I'm not going to turn it on. Then we have the airborne time here, so then we have to jump air. It's from 1810. Ooh, 1810 till 1820. This should loop again, so this is just him flying in the air. This should loop. And then we have the landing here. Yeah, jump, landing, or recovery, or what you want to call it. Up to you. 1820 to 1840. You should also not loop, right? It's just him landing. That's it. Then we're gonna hit apply. I'm gonna wait a little bit so it actually applies all the settings to it. It's gone done. Okay. So we do not drag in our animation asset. We're gonna drag in the base animation here. So the one without any animation here. Then we can still use the IKs and joints here. I'm gonna make it a little bigger. What that means is that I can go here, for example, in my left leg. I can still rotate, right? So it actually still animates. That's what I want to have. So in order to make this work, we need to add a animation controller here. So I'm going to make one here right now. So create animated controller. I'm going to call this MLA. Doesn't really matter what you call it though. Then we're just going to drag it in here. And that's it. So when you double click on this one, by default there are no animations here. This is it. So you have an exit, an entry, and an any state. And for now I only want to drag in my idle animation. That has to be done from the one that actually has the baked animations in it. So I'm gonna drag it, go over here. Fine, I'm just gonna grab idle 2, just drag it in here. And by default, since there's nothing in here, this is gonna be my default animation. Now when I go to my scene here and I hit play, it should just idle. It should just play, nothing else. Oh, I'm gonna go over here. And just stand still and does nothing. Just idles, that's it, right? So the actual animations work fine. So how to turn this into an actual ragdoll physics? Ragdoll. We have the object selected, then we're going to game object, 3D object, ragdoll, and then we're going to ask for all the joints in the body itself. The pelvis here, that's my root. I'm going to drag in my root. Then once the left hips, there will be a left upper leg. Let's do this straight away. Left upper leg, and then my lower upper leg, or lower leg, and then my foot. Same thing here, right hips, lower leg, and foot. Then it needs the arms. Unfold everything here, gonna take a while. That's it. There we go. Okay, so it needs our arm here, then needs the elbow, then needs the right arm and the elbow, then needs the middle spine. I'm gonna go for spine 1. Then needs the head. Now I'm not gonna use my actual head joint in here, since I'm using my facial rig. I need to drag in my facial dummy here. Total mass, which is fine if you want to like 20 or 80, but it depends on how heavy it is. Let's do 50. And strength, I just put in a number here because we always changed it. Then we hit create, and now we should see all kinds of colliders here. So what's happening now, I'll show it real fast. I'm gonna hit play here. Nothing should happen. It should just stand there and idle. So we're gonna flip. It's just doing our actual idle animation here. That's it. When I go to my scene, oh yeah, that's annoying. I'll click this. We actually have to turn off the animator to actually do this. So right now the animator is overriding our ragdoll physics. I turn it off. I'm gonna hit resume, and then it's gonna flip. It just flies in the air and it lands all the way over here. The reason is simple, right? Because there's a lot of overlapping colliders here. They are all overlapping, so we need to fix them manually, I'm afraid. I'm gonna go first focus on my head here. Go to my sphere collider. This is way too big, of course. Let's do like 1 here. Let's move it down to something. I'm probably 0 here. Let's do 0.1. Oh, 0.1, 0.2. This is okay, right? So let's move on to our spine 1 here. That has a massive collider. Root also has a massive collider here, so let's fix this one first. So the size, it should be a lot smaller, right? In this case, I'm gonna go for 0.3. Let's do 2.5 here, because I want to avoid colliding of overlapping colliders. Let's do like 0.3 here, so it actually fits the body. And then on Z, it's also way too big, of course, and then like 0.2. This is fine. Right, so it's now in the actual body itself. Eesh. Spine 1 here, again, go to our collider. Let's do on X. That's 2.5. Let's do 0.4. Let's do 0.3. 0.33 probably. And again on Z, we also have to move it on Z as well. So I'm gonna go here. Let's do minus 0.25. 7 here. A little bit smaller. A little bit. That's it. Cool. Let's go to our let's do legs first. Way too big, of course, right? So we need to adjust the entire radius here. Let's do 0.1, 0.08. That's better. Also for the lower leg, let's do 0.05. Same for the other one. Now we can actually copy paste this value over here, right? You can just hit right click, copy component, go to the other leg here, and paste values, and it should be the same. Same for the upper leg, copy component, and then paste values. It's going to be the same as well. Okay, let's move on to the actual upper arm. That's of course way too big. It's not even close to the actual body itself, so I'm going to make it small by 0.05. And I'm going to move it down. I think it's the Y here. It's not. Is it the Y? Oh, a little bit lucky here. To 0.04. 2. Yeah, 2. Also move a little bit forward here, and it's probably on the X. Not, it's on the Z. 0.01, 0.01. So it's inside the actual mesh. Elbow way too big, 0.05 maybe. Height is also too long, right? It's acting in stretching the entire hand as well, so I want to make it a lot smaller. 0.3 maybe. Then we just need to move it on, in this case, the XX. Just do 0.18 maybe. Maybe a little bit too big still. That's it. This is okay. You need to make sure that they don't overlap, so that these two don't overlap each other, otherwise it's gonna, like just happen, it's just gonna fly off into space. So again, I'm gonna copy paste the value here, upper arm. Let's have a look, then paste the values. We might need to invert some values over here, we do. So that's probably here, 0.2, that's it. And the lower arm here as well, elbow. Actually, probably want to make it even shorter though. Let's do 2.5. That's better. So it actually stops at the wrist. And again, copy and then lower it down here. Paste values. That's it. Okay, everything's okay now. I can double check it. This looks okay, right? There's nothing overlapping here. So we need to test it again, so I'm gonna turn off my animator from the start, so let's see what actually happens here. And it should just fall down like on pancakes. There it is. Cool thing now, it will actually respond to physics, but you can actually see that it just flops around. Nothing much though, because the mass, because we made it really heavy. That means we need to adjust the mass. But it actually reacts like a proper ragdoll. Okay, so this only works though when the animator is turned off, otherwise it doesn't work. So in our script, in our C# script, we need to say that if the enemy is dead, then we actually turn off the animator. So I'll show you what happens, right? So let's first do that. So in my script here, when I say animator def here, I'm just gonna turn off the animator and that's it, right? So I need to drag all my scripts on the actual character here. Let's do that real fast. This is not difficult. So I have an enemy controller that actually controls all the scripts here, and it even adds the nav mesh here as well, nav mesh agents, since that's what I use. Let's grab my scriptable object here. Let's do this one and our player. Then it should already work. I'm gonna add a sound. Okay, so it should work right now. So when I'm just gonna hit play here, it should idle by default. I want to kill it. It flies. It ends up all the way over there. So let's do this again, but then make it bigger this time because it's actually really funny. Maximize on play here. Then I'm gonna show you what happens. I'm gonna hit spherical. I'm gonna just turn on this. And then there it goes. So this is not ideal, as you can probably imagine, right? But this actually happens for a reason. I'm going to actually set this to a trigger here. This actually happens for a reason. Just do this real fast. There you go. So right now it's because of the couple things. We need to turn off the. We need to set the is kinematic to true by default. But the main issue though is that is the actual nav mesh agent. This one over here. Even though when we let the ragdoll physics take over, the nav mesh still wants to be able to control the actual character itself. That's the issue here. So if I turn this off here, I actually need to set this off. So I'm gonna say it's dead here, and then I'm gonna go. Let me say nav mesh agent enabled is false. So we turn off the nav mesh agent. Let's check this again. It's gonna compile the script here, and then we're gonna hit play again and see what happens. Gonna hit and shoot him, and it just falls over perfectly, right? So this actually works. Now that is the second issue that's gonna happen. I'm gonna go to my animator here. I'm gonna change my idle to the other one. I'm gonna go back here to my character here. I'm gonna drag in the idle 1 animation. I'm gonna set this to default state. So this is gonna be default. This is not gonna play at all because it's not connected. This is not going to play by default, right? So I'm going to go here again, hit play, and just go in here and see it show up to the actual character real fast. So it's idling, it's fine. Everything is okay. Oh, I'm too soon. I should not have done that. I'm sorry. I'm going to fix this real fast. This is just the trigger here that actually makes the enemy walk towards the player. Gonna make it a lot smaller here. Okay, let's look from distance. What's gonna happen? This is still okay, okay, and then it's gonna bend over a little bit, and it's okay. So what can happen though is that the colliders are too close to each other, and then it's actually gonna flail and it's gonna flop. Right now they are okay. They actually don't actually intersect or overlap. But if you have that issue, it can happen to you. You need to make sure that you set all the rigid bodies here to is kinematic. I'm gonna do that anyway, just to prevent any weird issues in the future. I'll set them all to is kinematic. Just to prevent again issues in the future. That will probably happen at some point when I do an animation, and it's gonna flop. It's gonna look really weird, because then the rigid bodies are trying to push each other away, but since they are parented to each other, they can't do it. So then it's just gonna like jitter and gonna create a lot of issues that I don't want to have. So same here for the rigid body here as well. Okay, that will prevent all issues that you could have with the rigid body spazzing out, that sort of stuff. It also means that we have to turn it on again in the script, and we have to say, okay, every rigid body should again do that. So again, this is my def void. That sounds epic though. I'm just gonna go for simple for each loop, and then we're gonna say here the rigid body RB or anything you want, and then we're gonna get components in children. So all the components in the children that have the rigid body, like this, and then we're gonna say RB dot is kinematic is false. So we turn off all the kinematics again by default in the script. That's going to prevent any weird shit happening to me. Okay, let's hit play fast. And we should be able to kill it. And it just falls over dead. And it still reacts, as you can see, to the actual rigid body. Of course, it's not too heavy. It's the mass, but we can change it if you want to. And I can also see that it doesn't have that much detail in the rigid body right now because it doesn't have, for example, any hand colliders. So the hands will go through the floor, for example. So if you want to do that, you need to add more colliders to this. So you have to grab the actual hand, and then you need to add a rigid body to this, a character joint, and a collider. Then it should be okay. If you want to do that though, I will in the future, but for now, this is okay. So very simple script, right? We turn off when the character is dead. It doesn't matter where you do this. We turn off the animator, so enabled is false, and we also set the nav mesh agent to false as well. And we set all the rigid bodies to is kinematic, and everything else in here at this point, if you just don't even look at it, doesn't really matter. Okay, that's pretty much it for the ragdolls. It's pretty simple. Nothing really fascinating. And in the next video, we're going to dive into the animator itself, how to set this up properly, and how to set up blend trees, and the parameters, etc, etc, etc. So I'll see you again next time. Shouldn't take too long, but I'll see you then.